Good afternoon, Srinivas Garu.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Let us wait for about all startups come. We can start the session at 3.
Okay. Yes.
Srinivas, let us wait for about two couple of minutes. Post that we
Sure.
can start the session.
Yeah, you take your time. Okay.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining this session. Let me introduce our speaker for this session, Srinivas Uppaluri. Uh, he served as a vice president and global head of marketing in Infosys. He's a director for Anderson Business Consulting. He is the managing consultant of PwC Consulting, and he come up with over 30 years of experience in working closely with top managements of various companies in addressing strategic and operational issues. So, thanks for joining, Srinivas Garu. Over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I think there is a very wide variety of participants. I'm not even sure what stage of your company evolutions you're in. So I am going to talk about branding, positioning, and marketing more from a framework perspective, from a conceptual perspective. Obviously, like, the customizing to each one of you would be a separate exercise, but raise some key issues which you can take back and reflect. Whenever we have question and answers as a part of this discussion, I'll try to answer as close to possible to your company situation. I know there are companies from health tech, there are companies from space tech, there are companies from semiconductor background. So it's a very wide variety. I'll try and use a more structured. I think there's somebody's microphone is on, which is giving a lot of feedback. It's Fahad. Would it be possible for you to mute your this thing? Yeah, thank you. So, so I'll share some slides and we'll use that slides, and I'll probably narrate some experiences around that. We could use that as a context. I'm trying to, I think this is a totally a 90 session. So what we could do is at different points, I can pause and take questions, or we can have a half an hour of question and answers towards the end. We'll just go by the flow and I'll see how people do. I'll just share a presentation for you to So as I said, I'm covering about branding, positioning, and marketing overall. There are, and I think, I will touch upon some of these things which have a direct impact on your sales also later. So one of the first things everybody wants to understand is what's our approach to branding? What is all this brand all about? And if I went through some of your websites and to be honest, I think some of you are doing absolutely amazing work. The products and the solutions you are taking to building together now as a startups is amazing. But when I look at your websites, I wanted to understand is what is the positioning we are taking. So if I really look at your websites, the first thing I notice is that you are mostly describing what you do. If I looked at your description, it comes more like what are your offerings, what are your outcomes you're owning. I think this is exactly what I see when I see most of your websites, or even some small descriptors I got as a part of the brief to this session. Some of you have probably talked about how you do what you do. So some of you have described about that, and very few of you have described why you do what you do. And I think if I narrate that from a different angle, most of the branding, so like if you say when you come what we do versus somebody else who's in the competition, what they do, the differentiation normally tends to be very decimal point, because if I do what I do, somebody will soon catch up with me what I do. And I think that therefore the differentiation, and I'll narrate some 1 or 2 examples as we go forward. But at the same time, sometimes people differentiate on how they do what they do. I offer it in a particular way. My way of delivery is different. My engagement with you is different, and how I do what I do, that could be a differentiation for you. But very few people, again, as I said, communicate why we do what we do, and that's a core purpose for which we established. And most of the time, that's the longer term brand attribute of yours. So I think to understand these two different, suppose tomorrow I'm starting a university and I could be sitting and say, in a university, you offer courses, you deliver, you do research, you deliver through, classrooms, you deliver through projects, etc. But the purpose by which you set up the university could make actually a difference of how you do what we do. So, for example, if I'm setting up a university and my purpose is to enhance employment and ensure that most everybody who goes through it has employed and effectively employed, then that is a purpose. I want to ensure that the increase the employment, increase livelihood opportunities for different people. If that is the purpose for which I'm setting up the university, then what I offer, how I deliver that objective could be through more courses which are aligned, well, like ensure that skill building is fast, it's aligned to what the demand of employment is, and therefore the courses I offer, the kind of people I bring on board, the people who are looking for jobs, who are looking to pursue academic pursuits more to get a job, I will be recruiting most of those kind of students. I'll have teachers who are more good at experientially delivering those things, equipping you to join the university. And so my purpose, therefore, would be to create employment. But what if my purpose to start the university is to create more Nobel laureates? If my purpose, if my why is create more Nobel laureates, I think then what immediately the kind of structure I will do, there'll be more research, there'll be there will be more depth, deeper departments that have been created, the kind of professors you bring on board, the kind of students you will choose to handle is completely different. And what kind of courses, therefore, you offer, what kind of actions you take in the company are where and this university are completely different. So your why completely changes the way you do your how and what you do your what. So your entire branding communication can be at all the three levels. It can be at what, it can say this is what I offer, it can be at this is how I do, and then finally it can be, well, this is why I do what I do. So most of the time the longer term attribute actually people associate with you through the why, and not necessarily, but they will of course understand you through your how and what, but I think they normally finally associate and communicate and build relationships with you for your why. If I take a IT industry example, I was at Infosys, and there were other companies at that point of time as well. So the what as Infosys was very similar to the what of many other companies. And the how was a global delivery model, outsourced to India, working from remote locations, delivering technology solutions from remote locations. So the how was also very similar. But the whys of very few companies were very strong. Like Infosys was building standards, creating the best in class companies, pushing the boundaries on how you deliver. So those whys, what was the gating criteria, and that why is what the values and those things were what every market associated. There were a couple of companies that where why was more making money for their promoters, and they did not continue to be around. So the whys again determine how your brand stays back in the market, and how the market associates with you. Great example are again products like Apple. When Apple you buy because you want to get associated with the brand, a brand which is redefining, challenging, putting some new perspectives around certain things, and their how is through design. Their how is to come with such a fantastic design that will help them to deliver products which are, you know, raising standards, challenging the status quo, etc. So I think first reflection every one of you have to do for your companies is, what are you communicating? Are you communicating through what? Are you communicating through how? And or are you communicating through your this thing? So when you do communications through the what, the most of the time the it is done for awareness. So when I do, why do I do marketing? I'm doing marketing to build awareness in the market about me, and to also build a perception about me in the market. So so all my brand, my positioning, my what I communicate is to enhance awareness. So enhance awareness is around two levels. It is saying how is my unaided awareness and how is my aided awareness. So unaided awareness could be like if somebody, you go and ask somebody in healthcare, saying health tech company, what is the top of the mind? What are the names that come top of the mind? Those are unaided. The second level is, have you heard of company ABC? Then if they say yes, I had, that is an aided awareness. So a lot of our marketing efforts, a lot of our communication is associated with unaided awareness and aided awareness. The second thing is to change the perception, to think that you are able to solve or you are able to provide certain solutions which the market is looking for. I've also made a big assumption. I've gone through a lot of your companies' profiles very quickly. Most of you, I assumed, are B2B. There are some B2C. If there are some questions later about B2C, I'll always take it up. But the rest of the presentation is largely focused through B2B. So if I go further, an exercise, I want you people to go back and saying, what is your purpose? What is your company's, and how are you, like what is your company's purpose and what is the why of your company? I think that could be a good exercise each one of you could do. The second larger question I want you to now respond, I think, and I'll give an example right now. I just came across some health tech company which challenges the status quo of diabetes treatment. The current diabetes treatment, let's say a lot of doctors and everybody do, is through, let's say, treating the the glucose levels and treating the keeping the HbA1c levels down by through medication. But this company, which is now a startup, is challenging the perspective through saying that is not the right treatment. I will work on insulin levels management, which is the precondition. So therefore, it is defining a new purpose or defining a new market. It is trying to do some things, versus some other startup has come up, which is like supporting the first cause, which is the diabetes treatment is through HbA1c. So provides measurement services, provides diagnostic services, which are home driven, which has probably been the demand came through COVID times, where I think home-driven diagnostics was possible. So if you see, sometimes some of you are responding to are creating products around a definition market has already put, or some of you are creating new purpose, new definitions in the market. So I want to just pause at this stage, but if you want to reflect later also, it's okay, because this is a new concept I have introduced to you, the why, how, and what. If anyone of you have some questions around this, I will take it on, and then before we go to the next sections. No questions here? Yeah. Maybe it's best to raise your hand. It will be easier for me to probably figure out. Yes, Hussein. You can go ahead.
Yeah, I think we are good.
You're good. Okay, wonderful. So the next real one I'm going to list, like there are tools to sharpen your value proposition. And again, I'm using this forum to probably give you tools, give you concepts, so that you can go back and put it to use. I'll share with you two tools through which you can actually test your value proposition, build your value propositions, and question your value proposition, and also understand what kind of an organization is required, or what kind of an environment is required for you to deliver that value proposition. So two tools. I'm not sure whether you are already using it as a part of your startup incubation, but I think I will just definitely share. One tool I famously use is called Business Canvas. I'm not sure again how many of you are really using that. And I think I use this very, very strongly, and I recommend this very strongly for everyone of you to really put together your business canvas. It really sharpens up your value proposition. So I'm taking this taxi operator example for this, putting together this business canvas. If you get on, it's always from the right side to the left side, this whole thing. So if you have customer segments. So you only put customer segments if there is a value proposition. So here I have put two customer segments for this taxi operator, saying there is a driver and then there is a rider, which is a customer. So if you really look at for each of the customer segments, there is a value proposition very clearly. For the drivers, the value proposition this taxi operator offers is income, flexible hours, and a very low idle time. Whereas for the customers, he offers easy booking, quick pickup, low price, convenience, and safety. So there's a very targeted value proposition. So segmentation happens for your customers only when there is a clear value proposition. But this value proposition has to be delivered. So what does it take to deliver these value propositions? So that's where you go into your key activities. The key activities there, here it's not about marketing or product development, etc. It's about what does it take, what are the attributes that take to really deliver this value proposition. So one of the attributes required is ease and friction-free transactions, because a lot of interactions with both drivers and customers. So how do I create a process, a technology, an environment which provides ease and friction-free transactions? How do I create operations which enables fast scaling? How do I then engage all stakeholders continuously? How do I learn from analysis and insights on an ongoing basis, and make adjustments so that these value propositions are being delivered? And how do I continuously develop value offerings? So the activities are more around what does it take to deliver this value proposition, and the resources are more internal, which are the brand which is already there, the technology you have developed, the data and insights you have done, funds from investors and employees. But also very important to have right partners to do this, so that there again it goes into your GPS map providers that could be a partner, your financiers could be a partner, your insurers could be partners. So it's this again helps you to say this value proposition for this set of people. If I have to do, what kind of partners I need, what kind of activities I need to do, what kind of resources I need to in place. So because no value proposition can be delivered without having this kind of a backend which really delivers it, with this kind of partnerships which to enable you on certain areas which you are not strong on. Then it comes to customer relationships. Here, customer relationships is the messaging, the key takeaways with the customer relationship. So both drivers and passengers, this taxi operator wants to say, I'm providing safety and fairness, and I'm transparent in dealing with you. And with the larger society, the communication is, I'm going to be sustainable and I'm going to be compliant with all the regulatory needs of the society. So these are the kind of message you want to deliver through relationships. And you may use any of these channels, which is social media to apps to direct campaigns, etc. But these are the kind of things. So you have a revenue streams, which are a list of revenue streams we have, and a cost structure. So this framework, and I think it's not easy. I get many companies to do this. Even very seasoned companies struggle to probably come with a very crisp value proposition and link it to what they are doing. So I think for all of you, when you're building your value propositions, it may be a very good tool to try it out. I'm not sure if anybody from T-Hub can say this is a tool being already used, great. But I think this is something I don't mind even looking back. If you can prepare and share it with me later, I can even look at and tell you where you might want to fine tune it. So moving on, I use this is my framework, which I call what outcomes do you own? What outcomes do you own in the market? So on the x-axis is your quality of relationships with the market. And in the y-axis is your ability to influence the business decision of the customer. So it's been developed from a services perspective, but it also has a very much relevant to people who are providing products. So I have applied this to many startups. I've applied this to many mixed set of companies. So at the lowest level, you could be just providing resources. So your outcome you're owning is just, I'll provide resources, you do whatever you want. At the next level, you say, this is like even for a product company, I'll just supply the product, you do whatever you want to do. This is the features of my product, you put it to use. For a services company, say, you tell me what you want, I will just deliver to your specifications. At the third level, you're delivering to an outcome defined by the customer. So let's say if the customer says my health billing cycle, I'm just taking, should be, the turnaround is today a full day. I want that to be like my customer checkout to be done within 2 hours of discharge. So if that is a solution, then you're giving a solution and you're taking a commitment that I will deliver the solution in 2 hours. Like let's say this diabetes company I was just talking to, they take an outcome that they will reduce the HbA1c by, let's say, in say 8 weeks time. So I think they are taking a commitment to the outcome. So what outcome they take, and the outcome is defined by the customer here. The fourth level is the, because of your depth and because of your research, because of your knowledge, you are able to go back to the customer and say, I know I'm building a product, and most of you are building a products which are ahead of the time. You are going to tell them, you know what, if you use my product, I can offer you an outcome you have not thought about, and therefore I'll give you a competitive advantage. I will commit to an outcome, not just, let's say, I not improve by 20%, but I have a product that will improve it by 50%. So you are telling a customer an outcome the customer does not know, and you are committing to that I will deliver to that outcome. And at a fifth level, you're not only improving the operations of the customer, but you're also giving them new markets, new solutions, etc. A great example is AWS and Netflix. So Netflix, when it was a CD, CD distribution company in the US, when Amazon Web Services came, it streamed them. It digitized them. So actually the entire supply chain was reduced and they would become a much more efficient company. But they also not only did that, but they gave them new markets and new customers. So when you when you go to market, when you work with these things, depending on the outcome you own, the level of organization you have to engage the other side is very different. If your level of acceptance is more, ownership outcomes is more at the lower level, which is, I'm saying, I will just deliver to your specifications, you are mostly dealing with the operational management. I've seen a lot of, at least from in startups which are in IoT space and all, they have always gone and said, I have this IoT solutions, but they worked only with the operational level people, installed the solutions maybe in different parts of the business, but their role was more in installing it and enabling it, but they were not into decision making use of that and enabling the company to make the decisions. So therefore they remained at the operational level. Whereas some solutions you can provide, and you can provide insights of how to put it to use, then I think I think that you're taking higher outcomes. You have to engage with the CXO level of the organization. Your ability to influence decision making when you just accept specifications from them and deliver, even if the fact that your product may be very high, is very tactical, and your ability to probably influence the decision making, if you are taking higher outcomes, it could be more strategic. Again, I want you to reflect from your company's offerings, from your company's specifications into the product features, offerings features, solution features. What kind of outcome do you want to offer to market? What kind of commitment do you want to make that takes you to deliver it? What kind of commitment you want to make with the customer, and therefore what kind of organization, people, structure you might require to deliver this. So I just wanted to pause again here. Any questions? Because it's a very, very, very involved framework, but it's a very useful framework for you to reflect on, what am I offering? What am I committing? Where am I going? What do I commit to? Do I just go and install it, or do I go and help them to deliver certain outcomes? Is it okay? I go ahead.
Yes, Srinivas.
So I'm just giving an example of sales and marketing, how different it will be depending on what level of outcome you own. If you are a company which is owning, just going by specifications and say, I want to deliver as you tell me. I'm here to answer to any of your questions. You are very Salesforce intensive. You'll have a lot of Salesforce which is selling on menu cards, which is selling on your collateral, saying this is what my features of my product are. Do you want to buy? You tend to react to opportunities. You're waiting for the market to call you. There is a gap between the guy who sells and finally the guy who delivers. Your entire marketing is based on features and credentials. And your marketing focus is on lead generation. Therefore, I think the way you do marketing is you go attend events, you go and do networking. You're looking to generate those visiting cards. Your account management, when you get into relationships with the customer, becomes more like somebody who plays an interface between the client and your organization. Whereas when you are going and selling solutions and committing to higher outcomes, you're telling them outcomes they are not aware, then your approach to market is to create opportunities. When I look at a lot of your solution features, and across the three streams of people who are attending here, I feel one of the ways you might all want to start thinking about your go-to-market is to go and create opportunities, target a particular customer and say, using my product, what kind of a business case, what kind of a solution, what kind of an improvement I can offer, and I create an opportunity. I can go and tell them something they are not thinking of, and therefore I create an opportunity. I'll give some examples later, but therefore the guy who's selling, it has to be technically good. Guy who's selling has to be a solution provider. Should be able to engage with the customer, understand his environment, and therefore offer a very like in consultation with the customer, offer the solution. You are here to talk about your product, to tell the market that this is a new way of doing things. Therefore, you're building mindshare. It's no longer credentials. You have prescriptions for customer issues. You therefore can do very selective marketing campaigns, and I'll cover that later. And your relationships with the customer should be such a way that they look up to you to solve the problem. So these are the very different ways you run the organization, let's say sales and marketing. So therefore, whatever outcome model you take up, saying, I will go to the market in a particular way, which is either I deliver to your prescriptions or I'm going to deliver to an outcome which you have not thought about. The kind of organization you need, the kind of approach you need is completely different. I will not delve into total detail, but my framework has a very detailed attributes for different aspects of running the company, depending on what is your go-to-market strategy. If your go-to-market strategy is project services, which is delivering to somebody's specifications, or if your go-to-market is to go and tell the customer what improvement you'll do and you create opportunities, the management aspects you need to run different functions, different aspects of the business that's a talk by itself. But at the moment, I just wanted to touch you saying, because I want to kindle in you that reflections about what is your outcome, what is the outcome you want, how do you want to proceed going to the market. Again, I want to pause any questions, because I think, again, or if you want to keep all of this towards the end and to your specific things, I'm fine with that. So we talked about the purpose, the brand. What's the kind of brand? What is a brand? How do you define a brand? What is the purpose of a brand? How do you really work from that? Then we went down to how do you can fine tune your value propositions using two tools. And one is the business canvas as a tool. The other is this outcomes framework as a tool. Both of them require obviously an organization that can deliver that value propositions. And again, I would recommend all the companies here to probably do that exercise. We are now come to that. Now we're coming down to saying, who should you target? Who is your market? Is there a structured way you can actually define who is your market? Who's the right market to target? Who is the right set of companies you should work with? And when should you time a sale? When should you time, and even when you're doing marketing, who should you market to? So I think that is another question always in the mind. Is it meant for like a B2C product, like let's say FMC product? If you had, sorry, anybody had a question? Excuse me.
Yeah, Srinivas, just sorry to interrupt you. I have just one question.
Sure,
Hello?
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the question is, as you were mentioning earlier, in terms of go-to-market strategy, right, Srinivas? So when we are saying like in terms of what kind of business opportunity we'll be bringing on, especially for the target market segment, target customer and all, right? So being an early to the industry, and do we need to provide in terms of case studies or something like that? How, I mean, or at times we will clearly mention in terms of what kind of value proposition which we are bringing in, right? So I just want to go a little deeper in how we can educate when we are
Sure.
when we're trying to
Sure.
deploy our program.
So Rajesh, I'm covering some part of that marketing part of it later.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
just to answer a question in the context of what I am saying, if you're there is one level you go through credentials. That's what I said. If you are going to reacting to market, then you are going through credentials, which could be your case studies, your product features, your pedigree of the people, etc., etc. That means you are saying, oh, you tell me whatever you want. I'm selling by credentials. That's what typically happens when you are doing through when you're reacting to market. But if you're creating a market, let's say we are creating an opportunities, you are going with a business case, saying what is right for you. So if I'm I'm just taking an example of let's say somebody who's selling ERP. I'm just taking an example of somebody who's selling a packaged product. Yeah. And all he's doing is going to somebody and saying, we have this packaged product. These are my features. So-and-so companies are using it. These are the case studies are using it. They are put it to use. These are features. Do you want to buy? So then he's giving all that particular solutions and some case studies, etc., which is more around the features, how the features were put, use cases, etc. But let's say he goes to another company, which I'll give an example in my real life. I went to an oil and gas company, which already implemented an ERP. And then we said, you know what, you're not used it properly. 150 people, I'll reduce it to 27. Pay me after that. So I'm now going with a business case or a problem that he's not even thought about.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Yeah,
so in that case, I'm going with a business case. That's why I'm building a mind share there, saying this is a new way of doing things. Versus here, I'm going with credentials. So both are very different approaches. So depending on what is the way you want to outcome you want to own, the approach to that is be very different.
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Okay,
sure.
and we'll cover a little bit more details about that later.
Yeah, sure. Thanks.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else? Okay, so now I think this is the typical experience of a lot of people that I'm just put this through a little illustration here that this guy is trying to throw stones in the air, hoping that some of them will fall on the tree and he will get some fruit. Most of the sales efforts are like that. We go knock a lot of doors, we go meet a lot of people in the hope that one of them would be our potential customer. So you have more misses than hits. Is that the right way of targeting a market? Is that the right way of engaging with the customers? I think that is the question one needs to reflect on. So what is the best way? What is my market? Everybody's market is very different. Who's the right set of customers I want to work with, and what is how do I time my things? So I'll give an example from an example I will talk to, and I'll share with the framework. Again, something you can take back and define for yourself in your own companies of how to use this framework. So I use this framework of defining a market. So there is a universe. All of you come when I see startup presentation, all of you say, I have a $20 billion market, $50 billion market. That's a universe. That's a set of universe where I think potentially there are lots of companies which is your universe, which may have the the potential. From that universe, there are a set of relevant buyers who could be the pool of customers you will be working with in the next 18 months. But who do you work with in the next 3 months? So your marketing happens to your relevant buyers. That means because these are the set of customers I will work with in the next 18 months, 24 months, marketing happens to relevant buyers. But the sales happens to the targeted customers who have a high propensity to buy in the next 3 months or the next 6 months. So depending on your cycle of buying. So how do we understand this high propensity? Then of course, from that, whoever you are targeted, there is a pipeline. I'll narrate it through an example of an actual case study I've done using this framework. And I'll also give references of how this looks at different. So there was this large product company, which is helps in, better management practices, product company, which helps in running very efficient business operations, globally well known, well established around everywhere in the world, has its own sales force, also has sales through franchisees and other partners. So this is the old sales force wanted to sell not less than $1 million per sale. So that means the deal size for the own sales force cannot be less than $1 million. And so therefore, whereas the rest of the franchisees and the resellers and the partners could sell it to their own commercial. But as far as the own sales force was concerned, the $1 million was the deal size. So they were targeting a lot of companies. They were going and meeting them, but out of 100 companies they were meeting, they were only meeting 2 companies which were showing interest. Not even buying, just showing interest. That means they were in this target environment, they were engaging, they're not yet pipeline.
One question here, Srinivas. Sorry to interrupt. Product fit, I'm trying to look at value proposition and these things. I understand the strategic fit, but before this comes the product fit, right? Whether the product actually fits the solve.
I've not even walked you through that. I've not yet walked you through.
Sorry.
Just go through it and I'll take your question, right? So I'm just giving the narration. So this company was targeting $1 million, this thing, and it was meeting 100 people and was selling 2. So then we use this framework to help them to narrow down. This is a product company, help them to narrow down who are the right people. So actually at the end of this exercise, instead of 100 to 2, we made it 40 to 10. They could go after 40 and 10 were showing interest. Of course, whether it converted or not is more about the terms and all those things, but we were improved the thing. So how did we do this? So we redefined their universe. We defined their universe saying $1 million means a particular financial size of a company only is worthwhile. Companies which were, like, say, if you talk in Indian rupees, they're not less than 500 crores in revenue. We said companies not less than 500 crores in revenue should be the target. If anybody is less than 500 crores in revenue, is not a part of the universe. Then we looked at what industries their product is much more relevant to, and what geographies where such these size companies and these industries are more than. For example, in India, there are more than 2 million registered companies. Of them, I think around less than 1% are listed. But there are more than 25 to 30,000 companies greater than 100 crores growing at a rate of probably faster than the GDP. So there's a huge volume of companies to whom you want to work with. So we said then, therefore, within this huge volume of companies with less than 500 crores are out. And then we also said this company had a huge installed base in India. So therefore, any companies above 2,000 crores is also out, because I'm sure they have some similar solution by now. So we took a range of 500 to 2,000 crores companies and said somebody in that size is somebody who you should target. And in this particular industries and this particular geographies where these companies are more housed. Then we looked at what is their stage. Are they just early stage? Are they now in the expansion stage? Are they in the diversification stage? Depending on, I think we felt that if anybody is in the diversification stage, expansion stage, are more potential buyers, and we should target them. And we also looked at our ability to provide services. And I think this question will keep coming for all your startups where you may have very lucrative customers coming. Whether you will be able to engage with them and able to successfully provide your solution is a question you need to keep thinking about. So that was the third question we really looked at. And then we looked at the next level. So this is a whole pool of companies. Within that companies, we looked at who is profitable today, who is growing today, who's got a good credit history, and therefore we shortlisted for them. And then we also looked at, like, I think Arvind, you're asking this, the readiness to use these offerings. One is your product readiness, Of course, your product is not ready, you can't go to market. This product is ready, but do they have a maturity to use the product? Do they have an environment in which they use? Yeah.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. My question is, I was thinking we first do the product fit and then go to strategic fit, right? Is it not the other way around? I'm
No,
like,
I think
maybe I'm confused.
So you have to explain to me both the terms, how you interpret them.
See, like, when we have a pain point, like, for example, you're a diabetic example and we'll take. We first say, okay, we have a diabetic problem. That's a problem. Pain reliever is the medicine or the solution that is provided, right? That is the product market fit. Like, there is a pain and there is a reliever, right? In that, we first see the product market fit, then go to strategic fit. Now, who are the likely people? It is not the other way around. Like, who are the likely people? I mean, above 40 plus or 45 plus are my market fit.
So that will be your,
universe.
Your universe will be
so
above 40.
Are we not missing the product fit here before we get into? That's what my question is.
Product fit comes is if this solution. That's what I'm trying to come back to. Like if you are only, first of all, I'm just looking at. Okay, I'm a little confused on your terminology. Your solution obviously we'll have to look at whether it is something they'll put it to use. Correct. You're only looking at a universe that we are, like, again, in this case also we're saying we're only looking at a universe that is most likely to use your product. Correct. That 500 to it's most likely to use. Therefore, in this case, it was a corporate. Corporates use better management tools. Corporates use better governance tools. So I think therefore there's a product fit there.
Right. Okay. You're assuming that there is already a product fit and then going down, right? That's what is the assumption here.
We're saying corporates will use this kind of product. And therefore, I'm saying, when we next level check, we are saying if they already have some solution like that, we don't go to them.
Yeah.
If they're already using some solution like that, we don't. So you're saying we're looking at both the things. You're already using some solution. In your case, in a healthcare solution, it may be still different. They may be already using a solution. You want to move there. Then you're doing a mindset. But here it's more about sizing the market and targeting them. That's all I'm saying.
Right. All right, great. Thanks.
So within the larger pool, therefore, we brought it down to some smaller set of companies who have a better, profitability growth and all. And then we also looked at their readiness to use such a product. That's where the product fit comes. And then our ability to serve them. And the most important thing we looked at, do they have the right leadership to put this product to use? Do they have the right team in place to put this product to use? Therefore, otherwise you'll be spending time with somebody who is not. So you really look now, the bigger pool has been reduced up. Then we came down to, do they have propensity to buy? Is there an urgency to buy? Is there something which I can look? Is there an urgency to buy this solution? Therefore, I will target them now. So for example, in this case, we looked at this. If any company is getting new investments, that means their governance has to improve. If any company is expanding to new products, new geographies, that means the existing management wants to probably focus more on the expansion. Therefore, the governance of the existing operation should be good. So therefore, if you time them when they're doing this kind of a change, then therefore the chances that they actually accept the product, they actually maybe engaged in putting this. Of course, we looked at whether they have something like this or not. If they already have something like this, unlikely to move. But if they don't have something like this, then we are really going and targeting them and prepare the propensity to buy because they have an urgency today to buy. So what I'm giving a tool here is you have to use similar ones to define your own universe, similar ones to build your own relevant buyers, similar one to probably understand what is the timing of your sale. Because your timing of your sale is wrong, you'll spend a lot of time. And wherever you have defined your relevant buyers, you use them as a target set of people to whom you market to. So I'll quickly move on. There's a lot more to cover. I'll just jump on this. So again, just going to a different set of questions, saying what is your approach to market? So that we just talked about, are you reacting to market or are you creating to market, reacting to or creating opportunities? So I'll just take a case. You are ready and the market is ready. That means your product is ready and market is ready. You can earn. That means there is a demand for your product, demand for your issue. There is diabetes, for example, I think Arvind was talking. There is a demand for the product. There is a market readiness for the product. Therefore, you earn. That's when you sell. There is a demand for the product, but your product is not ready. There are certain features missing. There are certain capabilities missing. They want not only the product, but they want services around that. So you want to build some capabilities. Then you have to build capabilities. There is a demand that your product is ahead of the market. Market is not yet ready. You have to build a mind share. You have to build the concept. Therefore, you have to build a mind share. This is where marketing comes a lot more. And you are not ready. You're exploring new features. You're exploring new things to do. You're in a very early stage, which is not there. Then you're in explore. So we have to look at your product readiness, and your market readiness. And I think depending on where you are, this will give you immediate sales. This will give you sales probably Enable will give you sales probably in 6 to 12 months. Engage might give you results maybe next to 6 to 18 months. Depending on where you are, and the market is, I think that's where you do. But your approaches therefore have to be very different. That means if your product is ready and market is ready, then I think you have to ensure that your engine, your marketing engine, your sales engine is facilitating the client and their stakeholders to quickly take decisions, understand their objections, and you're managing their objections. What could be their concerns to buy a product? Whereas if your product is not ready, you are ensuring that you're getting it ready so that you quickly meet the customer requirements. If your product is well ahead of the time and the market is not ready, then you have to start building the mind share, and you have to start working on helping the market to get ready to put your product. And many of your startup products could be here where you probably have to spend time building the mind share, probably have to hold their hand to put your product to use. And if they are in a stage where everything is being explored, then I think this is the it is more an explore. Probably the revenue ranges could be next 24 months to 36 months when you get it in. But this is a good frame to look at where you are in maybe different products you are offering, where you are in terms of your go-to-market, and are your activities and actions in line with your readiness and market readiness. This is another framework I just want to leave behind for you. I'll skip this, giving the time. I think I'll come back to that if we have time later. But I just wanted to talk about how do you build, because I think I'm supposed to stop at 4 and take questions. Campaign focus and thematic approach. A lot of people are asking, how do you build a marketing campaign? So I first wanted to talk about just this illustration of how one builds a content plan. So this is for somebody I worked who's into e-commerce and multi-channel commerce, and they use digital technologies to do that. So they have a multi-channel commerce. Content plans are done by picking up themes. And let's say here we want to talk about multi-channel commerce as a theme. And then we looked at multi-channel commerce challenges as a sub-theme. And topics we build is multi-channel integration, multi-channel becoming mainstream. And then here we talked about demand management in multi-channel commerce. And similarly, we talked about in digital technologies, how do I do master data management and tracking your order. So then for each of them, we build topics. We build topics of what topics we want to cover. Like you said, multi-channel integration, or here we talked about global synchronization. We pick up topics like that, and then we build a plan saying what type of content I want to prepare. So here again, answers to, I think, Rajesh, saying you build a capability document, you build a perspective, you could probably put a research inside, you create different type of contents. And then this content output, when this is a type, could be in a blog format, it could be in a case study format, it could be in a white paper format. So you talk about it could be a survey instrument, it could be a poll. You create multiple content types. So we create a very detailed plan saying, these are the themes, these are the sub-themes, these are the topics, and around this is the kind of, somewhere we'll create a capability document, somewhere we'll create a perspective, and then we put it into what type of content output would it be, who is it targeted, depending on whom we are targeting, which market we are going, what outcome we are owning, we should target which audience we want to target, and through which channel do we deliver? Do we deliver it through an event? Do we deliver it through an influencer? Or do we deliver it through our social media marketing? Or do we do it through an account-specific discussion and deliver it through them? So I think we decide which channels we use, which target we use. So we build a thematic campaign like this. I'm just giving a high illustration that fits into a PPT. But normally we take up what topics we want to champion, what themes we want to do, what kind of content we need to generate and which channels. We'll do it through an event, we'll do it through social media, we'll do it through a, like a direct one-to-one with the customer. Do we create roundtables, physical events, like online events, all kind of discussions, all kind of planning we do, and we drive marketing from there. So this is how we do very detailed thematic plans around marketing, and we drive it from and we do a structured plan this way. Again, I know many of you may be in very early stages to really build this kind of thing, but again, I want you to keep these as a reference so that your money is spent well. The second question we always do is the effort of marketing varies depending on the quality of content and the maturity of your content you create. If your content is me too, that means I am also in this space, I have these capabilities, it's a me too content, then the me too content, the efforts you need to put to get the results and the results are still very low. It's high efforts, low results. So you have to keep bombarding. If you see a lot of advertisements that come with very little differentiation, if it's a Me Too content you create, Me Too messaging you create, then I think you have to keep bombarding it for even to just get registered in the user's mind. Whereas if it's a little mature presence, that means you're talking about your insights of having dues, what are the challenges they face. If you bring out some of those aspects of it, perhaps this gets a more attention to the kind of content you do. But if you say that, you know what, I can bring a lot of improvements to you, I can change the way you do certain things, and I can commit to certain kind of things, then the content, if that is a nature, probably the attention to your kind of marketing messages and content would be higher. And of course, if you say, I'm disrupting the market, I'm changing things, this is the new way of doing things, then it's a content which will have a lot of followers. So your marketing efforts to actually get results out of that will be much lesser. So I think you'll have, typically every marketing campaign will have a mix of all these kind of contents. It need not be only this or that. I think it's a mix of every content. That is, you'll have a mix which is talking about credentials, which is very base content, but you have to expect that you have to create volumes of it. When you talk about collaterals, features, glossies, that's what is basic content is all about. But we start talking about, what is your perspectives around certain issues and all those things, that's a little more mature. And then when you have a more committed outcomes and all differentiated or a disruptive content, if you have a healthy mixture of all this, then I think your impact of marketing and your ability, your cost of marketing, and it will be much more optimized. So again, we look at when we are developing things like how are we doing and whether the effort really, a lot of people fail because they just prepare collaterals and a very basic stuff, which is features. They keep bombarding and it doesn't give the results because it has to keep on being repeated and it just increases the awareness of people. Nothing more than that. So I'll go back to what I skipped earlier. I think I still have a few minutes and then show, and as we can open it up for questions. One of the other things I wanted you to talk about is because you are in a space where I believe most of you are here. Most of you are building products which is ahead of time. And most of you are in a space where you are creating new concepts in the market. Therefore, you have to build an approach of nurturing the market. You have to build an approach of not just pushing messages, but you have to play a role of educating the market so that you are preparing the market to put the product to use. So I think you have to, and many times the market is not good enough, their organizations are not good enough to put your product to use. You have to help them to fit your product, your solution into the larger picture of how they want to really put it to use. And your team, both the technical and the communication teams, perhaps have to work helping the market to get ready, strategic fit for you, think technically fit for you, and you have to manage stakeholders' expectations and many customers as you address this. This is a very crucial part for every startup to do. For every startup, I think you have to be ready to go through this process of nurturing the market, educating the market, getting them prepared to actually see something you are saying, which they can put to use in their organizations. And That's a very, very important stage to go through. Therefore, you're building mind share, you're building communities around issues. So therefore, it's a much more patient way of really running a marketing campaign, patient way of engaging with the market. And I think this is a very important aspect you might want to think about as you do. And I think your approach to marketing, therefore, will change from there. The other thing you want to talk about is to understand stakeholder management. I think every organization you engage with will have multiple stakeholders. So you might be engaging with somebody who's technically savvy to buy your product, but there are decision makers all over. Mapping those stakeholders, understanding their expectations, mapping your communications in line with that expectations, and then calibrating such a way that you are carrying all of them in effectively is another very important thing you might want to do. So I'll stop here for some time. Please open the questions. I will keep the slides away. I'm open to the questions now, and if required, we'll go back to certain sections and talk.
Can I start, Srinivas? I have one basic question.
Yes, sir.
Is it all right?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. So we are as a company building, AI chips. As a company, we are trying to build, artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
Is it all right? Shall I go ahead?
Yeah.
Or
Please,
anybody?
You can go
Yeah.
ahead.
So the question is, we are trying to build AI accelerator chips. Okay. That too low power, ultra low power. And the problem statement I'm trying to solve, if you look from value proposition point of view, the problem statement I'm trying to solve is basically there's a lot of road safety issues due to drivers these days.
Got it.
And edge computing and driver monitoring systems require AI accelerator, which requires to have a very low power AI, and it has to do high-end computing. So we found that there is a problem. We started with a device because there is no low power chip at a low cost. I'm not saying there's no low power.
One second. I think somebody at the Hub AIC, can they mute, please? I think there's a lot of... Sorry. Go ahead, Arvind. Go ahead, Arvind.
So the point I wanted to say is we are trying to build AI accelerator chip for edge computing device in automotive. Yeah. That's the use case. The problem we are trying to solve is driver monitoring system, primarily driver monitoring system.
Yeah.
We're trying to solve the issue of driver closing his eyes or whatever and all that through this accelerator chip.
Yeah.
Because I am trying to do this, the situation I am creating the market, because the problem is very clear. It is there. But as you rightly said, market needs to be nurtured. It has to be done.
Correct.
So instead of selling chips, I became a platform as a service company. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Because I now have to build the device, build the chip, give the device at a platform level. This is what our approach is. I mean, is this the right approach, or do you suggest anything, from my point of view, from the context of this conversation? I'm trying to see.
So whether you're doing a platform versus a chip, I don't know. I can answer that. We have to have much more deeper dive talk about it. But what I think if you're really trying to do is you're creating, this is an ecosystem, right? There are several people probably have to use your chip to create these things which go into different automotive these things. First of all, people should feel the propensity to buy. There could be a potential to buy. You need the propensity to buy. There's no urgency, right? So either it is a regulatory urgency created or a panic situation is created, and without this there'll be a situation there. So there is a need to be created in the market. Now, if more and more equipment providers also automatically do it, then there is a need which is embedded and which is already a nice feature to have. So one is, I think, to create that. I think one is, therefore, the importance of this is where I think probably where you'll have to start building a mind share and educating them on why it is important, what would we do, and what is the business case. One is the business case.
In that context only. Yeah, in that context only, what happened is I ended up creating the platform. You know, how to
Possibly,
use
but I
it.
think the platform itself, it has to be a business case for everybody to use it.
Right. That's what it is. That has become.
So you need to educate the market again. Still, you need to probably create the awareness around it. So it's a nurturing is the main thing you have to really do. Your larger purpose, if you really now look at your branding, is about the safety of the passenger, safety of the people on the
Right. Road
so
safety.
that's the purpose. So therefore, you have to probably drive your communication also from there, and maybe get different influencers to probably start following you on that. You know, like you have to probably work with influencers, maybe RTOs, maybe different set of people who prescribe this as a requirement. So it works many ways. It's an influencer marketing is there. There is a difference. So I think you have to work with multiple levels there.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Srinivas. Thank you. I got the sense of the question.
Yeah.
Hi, Srinivas.
Hi.
Great. So Srinivas, basically, I have some certain questions that whatever you just thought, okay, the go-to-market or product market, like how to get it done, how to create things and templates. So is it possible that I can get it created and come to you for a review? You can, spare like 5-10 minutes and help me out?
If it's a 5-10 minutes, yes. Otherwise, I work on many things. Yes, definitely. If you can do some things, I can definitely bounce it up, but not beyond, just a quick review. I am
just
not
a quick review.
Yeah, of
your
course.
Inputs.
Of course, but I think the turnaround time will be little slow, but we can always. I think it's easier for me if I visit T-Hub and we can quickly do that.
Yeah, we can do that.
On mail. It will be much more challenging because normally, unless it's scheduled, I don't really look at it. But I'd love to help anybody. Yeah, not a problem.
Sure, I'll connect you on LinkedIn for the interview. Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else? Any specific questions? I know this is quite a heavy dose in a very short period, but given the range of number of companies, I don't think I can customize it for you. Anyone else? Everything is okay, or it was?
Yeah, I have one question, Srinivas. I'm not sure you covered this in this. I was wondering if product market fit and prototyping, there's a small prototype we have to do before we get into.
I'm not into product development as a process. Okay. You
understand? I mean, the market fit. What I mean is the market fit of the product.
And more after the product is ready, how to take it to there.
All right, great. Thanks. Sorry.
Pranay is there.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Pranay.
So I heard a lot of questions and them being answered. So fundamentally, I thought the objective was to be looking at not business models, but to be looking at branding and positioning, which again would. So I think the whole conversation went into business modeling. So from a branding perspective, I completely understand the messaging, the sort of the initial questions that you talked about, value proposition. So my question would be, what is it? So fundamentally, segmentation and all of that happens later. But when you are developing products and you've still you're kind of going to be launching in the market, obviously there is a company sort of a messaging that goes out, a curtain raiser that should be there. Could you touch upon how the launch, basically, that you're talking about branding and positioning? Again, I know Kotler's 4Ps and all of that, but how does it? What are the magic 1, 2, 3 that you would advise a company to go ahead and do?
So the first thing I talked about, that why, how, and what.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people associate with why you're doing certain things. I think you're in a health startup, this thing. Yeah. So you have to touch the why powerfully. And again, I said in that context, are you redefining the market, or are you following certain concept already in the market and therefore enabling the putting to use of that this thing? So like a lot of products are coming in health tech, which are more to support an existing opportunity within concept, or I'm completely redefined, I'm questioning the way things are getting done. So depending on that is the first thing we have to be very clear, the why. I think the why has to be very clearly created, because that communication around why is the most powerful communication. That's the first thing. The second thing we need to really target about is a business case. I'm saying when you do a launch, it's about creating an excitement around it. What is it in for you? So you're really looking at whom are we targeting and what is it in for you. So it's all about this is for your purpose. That's why the why becomes much more powerful, saying when you're doing a product launch from around that, saying this is the purpose, this is what is it in for you. And I think it's more win-win communication is what we are trying to create as a template in doing this. And the third one is it is a done through a very how do I put not one touch point, but it has to be a 360-degree way of doing. I will just give a completely off story from my Infosys days. We wanted to we were at that time fighting hard to get global delivery model, which is now very standard as a way of doing things, right? So I think only 16% of the global 2000 were adapting it automatically. So we wanted to increase more and more global 2000 to feel comfortable. So as a part of the marketing, we launched something when this guy Tom Friedman had written a book called "World is Flat." We used that "World is Flat" as a concept to say, like in a flat world, what you need to do. So we launched a "World is Flat" campaign with NASDAQ coming to our campus and ringing the NASDAQ bell from our campus, saying now a New York trading thing happens from somewhere in India, and that's a symbolism. And then followed that with maybe connecting to 500 CEOs in the world, doing events around it. So you create a buzz which is all connected thematically. That's why I gave the thematic plan, saying that you need to prepare thematically. It's not one launch, but it's a series of things through which you connect. So you connect through maybe an announcement. You connect. So what the messaging is more why. You connect through an announcement. You connect through like an engagement, maybe an online blogging, maybe like a series of roundtables. So you're creating that continuity, and you're also getting the media. So it's an integrated 360-degree ways of doing a good launch. Obviously need resources, both people and this thing, but you need to create how do I get attention. So like creating a NASDAQ bell from our Mysore campus is very, very powerful, because I don't need to do advertisement. I get $50 million worth of advertisement free, because all medias will cover it.
Right.
So it finds something so interesting to do, which I can do it with less money.
Absolutely.
So we need to think about, that's an example. Like,
yeah, I got the general
yeah.
Thank you, Srinivas.
Yes, please. Any other questions?
Folks, any more questions?
No, I think we're good.
Good. Any questions from the T-Hub? Anything else you want me to cover? Or then otherwise.
I thought that, if at all startups ask anything, we could have covered, but then they are sufficient enough right now. So
either it was too generic for them, or it was all good for them. I'll take it either way.
No, I think it's quite a lot of information, Srinivas.
Yeah.
So I think that's where it takes a lot of. Because I read about value proposition business canvas, I could catch up. It's really nice. Thank you for your feedback and all that. It is really very interesting to know that such a value is there from big MNCs like Infosys for us. My takeaway from this conversation is I'm in right path. So whenever you come to T-Hub, I would really like to have a one-on-one or sit across and see how we can take this.
Yeah.
It will really help us. I think and really interesting. The overall context of the conversation is very nice.
Thank you.
I'm really impressed with this.
So my request is everybody try the business canvas, try some of these things, and look at where you are going to outcome. I think it will be very useful to all of you to just fine tune what you're doing. And I think look at the framework. Yeah, Nikita, you were saying.
So yeah, I would request everyone to please turn on their cameras for a screenshot.
Wow. I think half of them disappeared already.
Yeah. So, Pradeep, Vijay, Hussein, Hitendra. Well, yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for your
Thank
time, Srinivas. Thanks so much. And please do, I'll inform you prior if Srinivas Garu coming down to T Hub. We can have an in-person
Sure.
session with startups.
So thanks, Nikita. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nikita. Thanks, Srinivas.
Thanks for your time. Thanks for joining.